The Finance Committee Chairman of the Southeast Business and Investment Summit, Chief Lambert Opara, has expressed readiness of the organizers for the summit scheduled to begin on the 11th of December 2024. He disclosed this in an interview with Afia TV yesterday. And of course, this interview followed a tour of the venue, Amadio Event Center, with the event organizers and Afia TV management on Monday. The detailed interview. The Southeast Business and Investment Summit is in town for its end-of-the-year event, and this event intends to make the Southeast the central point for business and, of course, investment as well, infrastructural development, economic development, and everything that we need to maintain our place as number one in the nation. Joining us now to tell us about this event is Chief Lambert Opara, the Chairman, Finance Committee of SEBIS. Pleasure to have you with me.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. We start on the 11th, the opening ceremony, 12th and 13th.
Okay.
So 3 days.
All right.
Yes, of course, we are ready. All the plans we've, laid down. We are trying to put the finishing touches now. And that's why we have been here since the past few days. Afia Television, of course, our great partner, is already gearing towards making sure that Nigerians have a feel of what is going to happen at Amadio Event Center here in Enugu. I can tell you confidently that all the plans we laid down for the success of this summit is already on the speed lane now. Our resource persons have started arriving here ahead. We visited the Amadio Center shortly, about some few moments ago, just to see what is going on there. And they are working very, very hard to put finishing touches to make sure it gets the befitting status of a summit of this nature. And so all other arrangements, those who are going to be handling our digital aspect to make sure that Nigerians have also knowledge of what is going on, if they are not going to be there practically are in place. And then, of course, those being expected, particularly from Lagos and other parts of Southeast, they have all indicated intentions to be available. We know that there are quite a lot of issues around the Southeast in terms of business. And that is what SEBIS is coming to address. We are expecting quite a lot of very, very experienced successful businessmen from the Southeast. Of course, you know that Southeast is a home of business people. And they are going to come here to share their experiences with the upcoming people. The state of environment is what we are now trying to improve on. Catalyze the economic activities and make sure that people are now coming home from wherever they are in all parts of the world. Igbos are scattered all over the world doing business, and they are very intelligent, brilliant people. So we now want them to come at home here a little bit, put something home here. That's what SEBIS is asking for. And it's going to be free registration, but you must have to be identified. But there are online registration going on. And there are people who are going to register at the venue free of charge. We're not going to charge anything for that. And it's one of the processes that are being put in place so that we can have as many people as possible from the Southeast, from the different units to participate, especially those in the business and those who are also eager to start investments in the Southeast. We need to encourage them. We need to tell them that, look, a core suppose rule or a co-rule,
Yes.
You can't be a big man somewhere else. I'm coming home here. Nothing. They both are known for being the home of business.
Yes.
So we need to come home and see what we are doing. The natural challenge we encounter in every aspect of our life as Nigerians. So Southeast is not quite different. Getting to meet the people one-on-one. I tell you, frankly speaking, that's one of the major challenges we had. We visited all the Southeast states. We visited Lagos, which is the hub of our Southeast businessmen. In Lagos alone, we visited 36 business associations.
Oh, that's a lot of work.
you, Alaba,
Impressive.
Ojo, what have you. And they were all happy. We are very, very prepared. And that's why you see us here. We've been here for the past 3-4 days, and then quite a lot of the local organizing committee have done so much work here, led by Ochiara Oranusi. It's been doing great work. And we're happy with what have been in place here. And so we are fully prepared
for it.
Yes, the venue is ready. All the various segments of the program is in place, and we have made sure that nothing is left, unattended. We're going to have a segment, a breakout, where we'll have workshops, and then discussion time for people who might have interest groups, the youths, the women. Because we want to make sure that everybody is involved.
And everybody is carried along.
You should be there.
We're all going to be there. Afia TV is going to be there. Thank you for bringing this home to us, beyond Enugu and to the rest of the Southeast, and for choosing Enugu as a host state. That is impressive. Yeah, and of course, that was Chief Lambert Opara, the Chairman, Finance Committee, Service. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much.
And Service is the summit to look forward to. You definitely need to be getting ready to go, learn something different about why you need to invest in the Southeast. And that might be your Christmas present to the Southeastern region of Nigeria. We'll take a quick break now. When the morning show returns, we're gaining more insights on what Service actually plans, what it has in mind for Enugu, and by implication, the entire Southeastern region of Nigeria. Are they going to be advocates for the citizens, or will they be, let's say, a mouthpiece for the government? We'll find out more after this break. Please stay. Welcome back to the Afia Morning Show, and thank you for staying with us so far. I hope you're dropping your comments on all of our social media platforms. Now is the event that we've been talking about, the Southeast Business and Investment Summit that is coming your way this Wednesday. I mean, that is as early as tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're already just hours away, if we can say that. And lots of people are getting ready. Lots of people are excited. And you can only imagine how excited and, well, how much preparation the organizers are getting up to at this point in time. To learn more about this summit and what it means for the Southeast, what we are expected to gain from it, we're joined now by none other than Chief Ben Etiaba, who is also the principal partner, Ben Etiaba and Co. Chartered Accountants, and also on the advisory committee for the upcoming summit. Thank you for joining us this morning, Chief.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. Oji, how are you?
Fine.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning.
Welcome. So it's really, really exciting. You know, finally, it's just hours away, and Afia TV is ready. Service, I hope, is ready. But let's hear from you. What are the last-minute preparations like? What kind of advice are you giving the organizers at this point in time?
All right. Yesterday, I hosted the executive secretary of the summit of Service. That's Dr. Ifedi Kokwenda, and the chairman of the LOC, Chief Ben Oranusi, to take briefings from them and to assess the level of preparedness, and then to advise on the best way to get the best result out of the summit. So far, I'm quite confident, based on what I heard yesterday in my office, that the level of preparedness is quite top-notch. And I'm looking forward to a good summit starting tomorrow. And but the summit and having a good time and having the best of resource people there and the great minds there, like Abogidi, Obionicha, that's not the most important thing. What's important is that we come out with some good resolutions, some good policies, and then post the summit implementation. Because so many of these summits and conferences and workshops have happened in the past. Not to this level, I must confess, and I'm very happy with this is happening at this level. But post these summits, not much, will be heard afterwards. So we want to make sure that this one is different, and that there will be some sort of level of continuity, and ensuring that whatever has been decided will be implemented for the benefit of the Southeast.
Now, we have to know, what are the measurable means of monitoring the gains of the summit? How would that be followed up?
Okay, first of all, we have to make sure the right people attend. We're doing that. We have to make sure that the aim of the summit is realized. That's bringing businessmen together, investors together. We're known as people, traders. We're for commerce, and bringing funders also people who will, because there's no point in having all these wonderful ideas and you can't fund the ideas. And there are so many grants that people are not even aware of. And ways of raising venture capital. I'm from Nnewi. I mean, you must have heard of Iba Boy way of doing it. Okay, that's fine. It's very crude at that level, but very effective, which is why Harvard picked it up. So we want to make sure that we no longer have one man, one woman businesses that die with the owners. Think of the great names of the Igbo nation of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and thereafter. Many of those businesses we knew then are no longer existing because these are one-man bands. They die with the visionary, even their family, the wives and the children are not aware of who the customers are, where the funding, sort of came from, and where the suppliers, sort of are. So we want to leverage on economies of scale, bringing these people together so that they can work together. It's all about collaboration, okay? And expose them to new and different ways of doing things. Well, by the way, now in the fourth industrial revolution, and we can no longer, we have to cope with modern times. We can no longer be doing the things we're doing in the 70s and 80s and 90s and all that, believing that it will work in today's world. No, the world has changed, so we need to innovate, change with that, and bring that into our commerce to move forward.
Okay, talking about anticipation and prosperity, what does this mean for the Southeast and Ndibo at this point in time?
Okay, talking about, what do you say, anticipation?
Yeah, anticipating what the summit is going to yield and imbibe in individuals who's going to be part of it, and posterity.
Yes.
All these.
Oh, okay, I see where you're headed.
And Ndibo.
Okay, I think the question answers itself. Remember that after the war, the Igbos were left with 20 pounds. Didn't matter how much you had before the war, whether you were billionaire, millionaire, whatever, you had 20 pounds. And what happened? We very quickly recovered. And that meant, because of that adversity, money became our god. That was the negative side of it. Nobody sort of likes till today. So money became our god, and like I said, the money's disappeared with the visionaries. But posterity will judge us fairly if we're able to build a legacy of continuity, making sure that these businesses survive the visionaries and the promoters, initial promoters, so that we can now begin to think of, say, for instance, Ekene Dilichukwu Transport, Nigeria Limited. Maybe the Ilodibo family are no longer involved in it.
Yeah.
But the thing is running, and they are back home or in London or anywhere else enjoying the fruits of it. I'm using that as a member of my family. I'm a part of that family. Okay, I'm using that as an example, so it's not like I'm targeting anybody. But there's a good example of what we're trying to achieve. Critics PLC. We just lost Ajulo Zodike. And whether or not Ajulo was alive, the business was going from strength to strength, because he was able to take the thing from private sector, from being a private limited company to being a PLC, inviting others to be a part of it, leveraging on economies of scale, making sure that even if the initial promoters were no longer there, the business will survive. And of course, your shares will always be there, or you sell and divest and move forward, do whatever it is you want to do. So we want to make sure that we have future businesses that will survive and present businesses that will survive the test of time. That's where we're headed.
Okay, now how would service kind of negotiate the output of the summit, the expected output of the summit, with the policies of present day, the environment, the business environment that we are currently living and working in? If you have, well, for lack of better words, people graduate from this summit and they have a wealth of ideas, they are so motivated, they have so much potential, they want to do so much for the Southeast, and most importantly, they want to invest in the Southeast. But then the environment still gives them some concerns, or the policies of the government still gives them concerns. How do you find a balance between those dreams and actual implementation?
Okay. You have to find out that, and to know that what I'm telling you is what it is. This is a private sector-led initiative. Okay, government has no business being in business, but government is everything till tomorrow. You see, you cannot begin to operate in a vacuum. So we need to influence government policies, influence government to provide the enabling environment for the private sector to thrive.
How would service influence government policies? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no. We're going to come out with some strong policies, and we'll lobby government. Don't forget that the government has come from people like you and I. These are not sort of headless people where we don't know. They come from amongst us, the people in those massive offices driving those limousines and sort of the massive convoys. So all we need to do is to articulate what will favor the Southeast. And don't forget that the leadership in the Southeast also want their states to do well, okay? But they may be headed in the wrong direction. So if the right people in the private sector put in or pressure them the right way, they can now begin to come up with the right policies that the private sector can home in on, okay? Being that enabling environment we're talking about, and provide some infrastructure like roads. It's not for the private sector to do roads and a number of things. There's some things that are even on the exclusive list. Power, for how long can we continue powering our industries with sort of small scale generators and all of that? So there are things we can do. We need to collaborate with the government, okay, to ensure that the private sector can do well. And we want to come out of this knowing or believing that in a few years, the Southeast will be the go-to destination for investment, for trade, for commerce. Don't forget that we are Igbos and we're good at these things, but we operate majorly from outside of our zones. So this will also attract akuluo investments in the Southeast, which is the other thing we want to achieve, okay?
Yeah.
But you can't do that if the environment is not friendly. There are issues to deal with, like security. But then again, we're looking forward to sort of ensuring that those things are sorted.
Yeah, pushing that narrative about security and breaking that chain is very important because it's like a hindrance at this point in time. Also, following up on conversations, I keep talking about this because I think it's the right thing to do at this point in time. Senator Abaribe was in an interview and we were talking about how they can't give us a center. It's time to come back home and make here viable and booming, right? So, and it's a great deal that service is, throwing this path to, gather people in one house and teach them and let them learn there are certain ways to tap, into so many things they don't know. That education, that knowledge is very important. So my take is how we are going to solve the security issue because it's the hindrance definitely we're going to be having regarding these, whatever progress service is definitely going to have and tracking these, how people excel after garnering all this knowledge. Security is the problem. So that conversation is very important. And how are we starting to tell our government that we need to tackle these for even the engagement with service to be successful?
Okay, you've made a good point there. But don't forget that the government, they're also interested in what we're doing, okay? The outcome of the summit. Good things are happening security-wise. In Enugu here, for instance, nobody sits at home on Mondays anymore. I just came back 2 weeks ago from Abia. The whole Isuchi axis, previously a no-go area, Lopanda and all of that, all cleared. Clean movement. Things are happening security-wise. Imo State, Abia, what's it called? Ebonyi. Pretty much good security-wise. Imo State, they are battling them. Most of the state under control. We tend to have, presently we have a major problem in Anambra, okay? But localized to Anambra South, okay? Where these guys are still operating. But I'm sure that the state also will rejig their apparatus to be able to deal with that. It's for the state, it's for the governors are the chief security officers of the state. And however they approach it, it just doesn't matter so long as security is returned. Well, let me tell you this, you cannot invest or get the Southeast to thrive if that security is not sorted out. Recall that in the 60s, between 1960 and 1964, the Eastern region, which is mostly the Southeast, was adjudged to be one of the fastest growing economies of the world at that time, okay? There was no insecurity challenges at that time, okay? It shows that this zone has that potential. We can still get back to that era and do more now if we tap into the modern world, leverage on what we talked about earlier, the Industrial Revolution. We can still get back to that, but we need to get hold of security, sort of reduce the level of insecurity to nowhere is safe in the world, by the way. I lived in London for 25 years, and I know that there are parts of London you dare not go to at some hours of the day. I spoke at a workshop last week, and I told them I was in Cape Town in South Africa. And right there in front of me, broad daylight, cars were being robbed. We were waiting for our turn. Luckily, it didn't get to our turn before the traffic moved on again. So nowhere is completely safe. All we're talking about is to get this thing under control so that business can work, so that our people can get back to the farms, So agriculture, then. You can use agriculture to industrialize to the Southeast, for instance. You can't feed ourselves anymore, okay? We're importing food.
All right. Now, let's quickly wrap this up with this question. Does SEBIS consider itself an advocate of the people, or let's say of business people, or does it consider itself as working closer with the government? Where do you think that SEBIS leans more towards, people or the government?
I mentioned it earlier. It's completely, wholly a private sector-led initiative. Okay? But you need the government, you need to partner with the government as part of the stakeholders to make things work. That's all.
All right. Any final thing you'd like to say before we wrap this up in terms of the logistics for the events? The time, I know it's 9 a.m. tomorrow, and we're made to understand it will last till Friday. That's the 13th.
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing I have to say is that anyone watching this program should spread the word that this is happening, and let people who are, especially who are already in and around Enugu and who are into the business world, to be a part of it. Just come down to Amadeo Event Center. It's a big center. There's enough parking spaces for everybody. You'll see the top businessmen, you see top bankers, you see top advisory people like myself, chartered accountants, lawyers. That's a good place to have a pool of resource to be able to improve your
networking
business
opportunities and the rest. So,
Exactly.
what is the expected attendance? How many thousands of people are we looking at?
I won't put a number to it. This is Africa. Africa, you can never tell who's going to turn up. You invite one person, he might come with 20. You might not even bother to come and not even tell you that he's not coming. So, what we hope to have a packed hall, but not just packed hall of anybody, packed hall of the right people.
What opportunities for business owners, entrepreneurs, as you know, people are trying to start their own businesses to survive in today's economy? What are the opportunities for them?
Massive. And that's a good one again. I'd like to see a lot of young entrepreneurs, people with ideas, just coming to tap and leverage on the experience of people who have been there, done that. Sort of expand your circle of networking and be able to take
All right.
advantage of
It's
those
great to know that
opportunities.
this event spreads across. It's not just for the older or more advanced business people. It's also for
The young ones.
the Gen Z. So yes, do well to make your way to Amadio Event Center in Enugu at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The workshop summit, of course, would last for 3 days up until Friday. So if you want to expand on your business, you want to meet leaders and, of course, business leaders and icons, you definitely need to attend the SEBIS Summit this Wednesday. And, of course, be there 9 a.m. on Thursday and 9 a.m. on Friday as well. Do not miss out on that. And Afia TV is the official media partner. I will definitely be covering all of that, all the experiences going on there. I've been your host as always, Natalie Uku, and thank you so much, Chief Ben Etiaba, for joining us. Principal partner Ben Etiaba and co-chartered accountant. It was a pleasure having you on today's show.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you. I remain Oji Nwachiku. Have a splendid Tuesday, and bye for now.